Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion. Before we get started, let me first remind you that we are covered by the BIP No Government License, which allows for the use and reuse of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is BIPCOT.org. We're also protected by Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969, which ruled that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is, quote, directed to producing or inciting imminent lawless action is likely to incite or produce such action. Therefore, everything said here on Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion is entirely hypothetical. This is episode 174. Which
I'm amazed they haven't kicked us off yet.
Gave a weird title to because it's an article that none of these guys have seen yet, and we'll bring that up in a little bit. But yeah, we are listening to Chris change the tire on his car.
Yeah,
how's it going, Chris?
big exciting stuff.
Well, it'd be better if I had some fucking light out here. But
yeah.
Generally, light is useful.
Light is overrated. Improvise, adapt, overcome, or something.
Especially when trying to harvest balancing beads out of the inside of your tire.
If you had your PT belt on, the light would be reflecting off of it, and you'd have plenty enough to see.
Yeah,
I already had to change my socks twice today, all right?
And if Dwayne Haskins had his PT belt on, he would still be with us today.
Oh,
what did we fucking tell you?
Bro, you're going to get Adam Schaefer'd. They're going to misquote you and misinterpret that, and they're just going to complain about it.
Hey, man, all I know is I was asked repeatedly when I didn't wear one if I wanted to get hit by a car. So I'm pretty sure not wearing one directly leads to being hit by a car.
I mean, they say correlation doesn't equal causation, but I mean,
they wouldn't be asking us that question all the time, Andrew, if it wasn't a fact,
it's like
right?
it's like in DARE.
Yeah.
It's like when they told you DARE, drugs or drug abuse resistance education, right? Like people are going to ask you if you want to buy drugs later in life, and this is what you need to say. I've been asked once or twice.
I've never been asked
so
if I wanted to buy any.
So the causation correlation is there. So we can't say that if he were wearing a PT belt, he would not have been hit.
That's true.
Especially in Pittsburgh. I mean, it's not like they give a damn about.
He was in Miami.
Oh, he's in Miami? That's even worse.
In Florida. In Florida, he was there. He was off-season training.
That's
Florida
even worse.
man.
Oh. Yeah.
This week's Florida Man of the Week brought to you by the guy who hit Dwayne Haskins.
Jesus. Yeah. I have. Oh no, that's an Alabama story, not a Florida story. Sorry. So cancel that segue.
Close.
Cancel that.
Close.
I mean, it is close. In many ways, Alabama's worse.
In most ways, Alabama is in fact worse than pretty much anywhere. Actually,
Alabama's favorite state is Mississippi.
Georgia,
Alabama.
Well,
Alabama's favorite state is Mississippi.
Because
because
they has one thing below them.
Yeah.
So, how about we can't? I mean, okay, PT belt. We can segue on PT belt. How about that?
Sure.
Homesick Navy officer can't get Hawaii gun permit.
Yeah, that is just this whole article just blows my fucking mind.
Yeah, a U.S. Navy officer stationed in Hawaii said in a lawsuit that he can't get a gun permit because he sought counseling for feeling depressed and homesick. Michael Satucci's lawsuit is the latest challenge to Hawaii's gun ownership restrictions. His lawsuit focuses on a state law that allows access to an applicant's medical records in determining whether someone should be allowed to own a gun, which his lawyers say is unique to Hawaii. It's not actually unique to Hawaii. In California, they can also request, and they also have a required to report requirement. If you seek, like if you're on strong antidepressants, they have to report that to the state, and then that eliminates your ability to legally purchase firearm.
Right, but what makes Hawaii's law unique is that they can access stuff that is just the notes. So even if you weren't actually diagnosed with anything, they can they can access it. There is, I don't think, any other state where they're actually allowed to do that. They can only see your diagnoses.
Yes. Santucci, a cryptologic warfare officer. Right, so we're not talking about a regular
idiot.
little no one. Right, a cryptologic warfare officer from Fort Myers, Florida, saw a medical provider at a military hospital for feelings of depression and homesickness a few months after arriving in Hawaii last year. He wasn't diagnosed with any disqualifying behavioral, emotional, or mental disorder, the lawsuit says. He later filled out forms to register his firearms with the Honolulu Police Department and indicated that he had been treated for depression, but noted it was, quote, not serious. Hawaii law requires registration of all firearms.
Blatantly unconstitutional.
Prior to acquiring a gun, an applicant must apply for a permit. When applying, the applicant signs a waiver allowing the chief of police of the county issuing the permit to access any records that have a bearing on the mental health of the applicant. Santucci received a letter from the police department saying that in order to process his application, he needs written certification from a psychologist or doctor documenting he's no longer affected by any mental disorder. Government physicians, such as in the Department of Defense, are forbidden from writing such statements, according to Santucci's lawsuit.
Yeah, so it's a way to basically forbid anyone that's stationed there from being able to actually.
Yes. The lawsuit also noted that the Navy approved of Santucci possessing firearms. Yes.
Well, yeah. In general, most militaries, if they're like, "No, you're fucking nuts. I can't allow you anywhere near a gun," they're probably not going to let you stay in the fucking military.
I mean, isn't that literally a Section 8 discharge?
Yeah, like you would be. What is it? Is that 8? No, it's I don't remember offhand.
I'm sure.
Yeah, like
I'm sure it's in the UCMJ.
Yeah, but they would discharge you because you're mentally. I actually know a guy who was discharged because he was declared mentally unfit.
Yes.
But like they're not going to let you keep playing around with like missile systems if you can't be trusted with a pistol.
he's
why? I don't understand.
He is a what is
press the button? Should not press the button.
He is a cryptologic warfare officer. I'm just saying that sounds like kind of fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, they're not going to put an untrustworthy person in that sort of position.
Oh yeah, you're right. You have access to an enormous amount of highly classified information every single day in that job.
But you can't own a pistol in Hawaii.
Yeah, here's the one that's going to send Andrew over. Representatives for the city and county of Honolulu, also named as a defendant in the lawsuit, didn't immediately respond to a message seeking comment.
Of course not.
The city's lawyer responded, quote, as a practical matter, the city makes the applicant disprove a negative. I am not incompetent, which is expensive and burdensome, especially considering that virtually all Hawaii doctors refuse to write the waivers the city requires as proof of mental competency.
Which then fits undue burden, which then means it's unconstitutional.
It's all constitutional or all unconstitutional.
Well, I mean, it's all a violation of human rights, but I mean, under established jurisprudence, then it would be an more undue burden.
Yeah, that's more strict than even here in California. California is a may issue state, right? The sheriff may or may not issue, and some sheriffs are actual shall issues. Right. And so instead of having to prove that you need it, the sheriff will actually try to prove that you don't. And if they can't prove that you don't through like a background check, then sure, go ahead. Here's your permit. My sheriff here in Contra Costa is fucking terrible. Like I'm like 1.2 or 1.15 million people in this county, like less than 1,000 gun permits.
Sounds about right.
The county I left, the new sheriff of the county I left increased and became a shall issue because the waiting time for a permit in Riverside County was like 2.5 years. Yep. And the new sheriff got elected, Bianco, and he came in and dropped it down to less than 6 months.
Yeah, I waited 6 months to get a no.
The county that I live in has less than 25,000 people in it, and there's more gun permits here than there are in your county.
Yeah. Up north where my brother is, like their sheriff will actually, like their sheriff sends out emails and they'll actually advertise, hey, there's no wait list for permits. Come on in. We'll get you done.
Yeah.
I mean, my brother's permit with him not even owning a firearm. Like he literally borrowed a firearm from the gun range, did the thing, took the test, passed the background check, like didn't even own a firearm yet, and they approved his carry permit.
Nice.
Yeah. 2 Californias. I'm telling, there's 2 Californias in the state.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but yeah.
Balkanization now.
We have a balkanization article.
Hey, look at that.
Segue.
No, I've never bothered.
But we're not done yet.
Or anything else. So it's like everybody complained, like, oh, it took so long. I've literally never asked for permission ever.
Yep. I've never signed a 4473.
I have. I mean, I've signed a lot of forms because, well, I suppose I can't say I've never asked for permission because at one point I did have my SOT 2. So that obviously is asking permission. But,
yeah, that's a good thing to ask for permission for.
Yeah, but that was a really fun thing to have permission.
As a practical matter, the city makes the applicant disprove a negative.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and then the disprove a negative. You can't disprove, or you can't prove a negative. So why do I have to disprove?
Yeah,
a negative. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Or as FPC says, "Fuck you, no."
Yeah, fuck you, no.
As Josh dives out of the way to show the flag.
It's like the the whole, like, if I won the lottery, I'd buy a tank. And but what if they won't let you have a tank? Well, what are they going to do? Take it away? I have a fucking tank.
I mean, not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want to go, man.
It's that guy that bought a Sherman and parked it on the street.
Yeah, you gonna tow it?
Yeah.
Gonna guess not.
Brandon here. Brandon's up in NorCal, or used to be in NorCal, one or the other. He says it's amazing the difference between Northern and Southern California, but the state of Jefferson will probably never become a thing. No, it probably won't ever become a thing, sadly. I have my state of Jefferson patch on my other hat. I was going to show it, but the state of Jefferson is making moves. I don't know if you guys remember Shasta County. I know we talked about this in Telegram chat. Shasta County voted to recall the sitting moderate Republican county chairman, and voted in one of the leaders of the local militia.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, there was a video. I mean, guys, there was a video like late 2020. It came out at a city council meeting. There was a lot of those, and the guy basically said, end the mandate bullshit, or we're coming for you." Right? He literally openly threatened the city council or the county.
Based.
And they did. They launched. They had a big recall. Like a lot of businesses just said "fuck you, no" to the county orders, to the Reading city orders, and just did their own thing. And they were backed up by people. Open carrying firearms in California, which is technically illegal. Open carrying firearms and just. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. It was what you would expect in a red state, but it was still in California.
Nice. Nice.
So, but they're
Impressive.
that the militia up there and the like there's the thing out of Cottonwood. There's a documentary on YouTube about it, and they recalled the county supervisor. That's the word I was looking for. The county supervisor, the mayor of Reading, and then a few other council members. And they've all been replaced by people that are either in or extremely friendly to the militia up there.
Nice.
Very, very constitutional type of thing.
Nice.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
That's.
Oh.
I mean, that was one of those things that we've talked about before. With if you're going to start changing things, you need to start at a very, very local level and build from there. Because the way that they took over and turned everything the way they did, wasn't it from the top down? It was initially from the bottom up.
Yep.
They had to start local and then they moved their way up. And now that the top is controlled by them, the only way to get the top out is to take the foundations out from underneath. And you got to do it at a local level.
Yeah, once you remove the power base, once you remove the just following the orders people, shit changes. Shit changes fast.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that article story about that, like I read that in the Guardian, among other places. Washington Post had a big article on it. Yeah, I'm kind of proud of that one. No. But speaking of that note, I guess we have to do that article, huh?
What article?
The one about balkanization.
Yeah.
This is a New York Times article. Flurry of new laws move blue and red states further apart.
No.
Yes.
I know.
I'm so terribly upset by this. I'm gonna cry. Boo-hoo.
Yeah. Oh no.
Boo-hoo. This is after the governor of Texas ordered state agencies to investigate parents for child abuse if they provide certain medical treatments to their transgender children. California lawmakers proposed a law making the state a refuge for transgender youth and their families. When Idaho proposed a ban on abortions that empowers relatives to sue anyone who helps terminate a pregnancy after 6 weeks. Nearby Oregon approved $15 million to help cover the abortion expenses of patients from out of state. As Republican activists aggressively pursue conservative social policies in state legislators across the country, liberal states are taking defensive actions.
Defensive.
Spurred by a U.S. Supreme Court that is expected to soon upend an array of longstanding rights, including the constitutional right to an abortion. Left-leaning lawmakers from Washington to Vermont have begun to expand access to abortion, bolster voting rights, and denounce laws in conservative states targeting LGBTQ minors.
Just the fucking phrase LGBTQ minor is infuriating.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's I don't know. I don't really want to go into it on the podcast, but it's pretty infuriating.
Yep.
Oh, it's I mean, LA just voted to ban all official travel to Florida and Texas.
And both of those states like, no, don't stop, wait.
Please don't.
Oh no.
What will we ever do?
Yeah. The flurry of action, particularly in the West, is intensifying already marked differences between life in liberal and conservative-led parts of the country. And it's a sign of the consequences when state governments are controlled increasingly by single parties.
Oh gosh, you mean like almost every founding father of the United States warned everybody was going to be the death of the republic was a two-party system?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yes. Control of legislative chambers is split between parties now in only 2 states, Minnesota and Virginia. So Minnesota and Virginia are the only ones that have a mixed control of their state senates.
Yeah, they're the only ones that don't have a majority in both.
Yes. So, quote, we're further and further polarizing and fragmenting so that blue states and red states are becoming not only a little different, but radically different. That's a quote from John Michaels, a law professor who studies government at UCLA.
Oh, I wonder what side of the fence he's on.
UCLA.
Yeah.
Where was I? Americans have been sorting into opposition partisan camps for at least a generation, choosing more and more to live among like-minded neighbors, while legislators, through gerrymandering, are reinforcing their state's political identities by solidifying one-party rule. No fucking shit.
Adventures of the man who just started paying attention.
Captain Obvious strikes again.
I'm picturing the John McClane, the welcome to the party, pal. You noticed.
There used to be a meme series on Instagram, and it was Captain Obvious.
Oh yeah, I love the Captain Obvious stuff.
Yeah. It looked like it kind of looked like Quail Man.
Yeah.
Right,
I just noticed that. Oh, did you? Thanks for that.
Quote, as states become more red or blue, it's politically easier for them to pass legislation, says Ryan D. Enos, a Harvard political scientist who studies partisan segregation. Quote, does that create a feedback loop where more sorting happens? That's the part we don't know yet. Yes, we do know. Look at Florida. That's all I'm saying. Look at Florida. Look at what Florida's doing. Look at what Washington's doing.
Yeah, for sure. Like, dude. Look at I mean, compare for a minute. Compare Texas, Florida. I mean, any of the very, very hard red states versus the very hard blue states. Like, does it create a feedback loop? I don't know. Let's look at New York for a minute.
And you can say what you want. You can say whatever you want. However, given the last 2 years, would you rather have been Texas, Florida, or California, Washington?
Oh, I mean, it's no contest. It's no contest.
Yeah, it's no contest at all.
Mm-hmm.
And the homie Jack says, nice shirt, Andrew.
Anti-state.
Mr. Boogaloo Jack.
I also have my... oh, geez. What the hell is going on there?
Is that you? No, Chris is mic'd. Nope. He muted. With some 30 legislators in Republican hands, conservative lawmakers working in many cases with shared legislative language have begun to enact a tsunami of restrictions that for years were blocked by Democrats and moderate Republicans at the federal level. A recent wave of anti-abortion bills, for instance, has been the largest since the landmark 1973 decision of Roe versus Wade. It's literally like that's their only concern is Roe versus Wade.
Yeah, they don't have anything else. They haven't mentioned a single other thing. Nothing else. Just that. That's all they got. Like, but you know what? You and I don't care what side of the fence you're on about whether or not murder is murder. What I care about is the fact that if you were supporting the vaccine through all of this, if you were supporting the lockdowns and the mandates and everything else, you lost all ability to try and argue my body, my choice.
Yes.
That very moment. So yes. I don't fucking care what your opinion is at all anymore. You lost the ability to make that argument.
Oh, very much so. I can't disagree with that at all. Similar moves have recently been aimed at LGBTQ protections and voting rights.
And that's all they got. They got those two. They did two things.
You can't have positive rights in a situation that affects other people's natural rights.
Well, yeah, right? For sure. And I mean, that's a constant running theme on the American political left in particular, where everything they want is a right and everything they don't want is a violation of human rights. Plain and simple. Like that's the way they come down.
In Florida and Texas, teams of, quote, election police have been created to crack down on the rare crime of voter fraud, which, again, has already been proven that there were voter fraud. Not to the numbers that it would like overturn, the election, quote unquote. But it has been proven that it exists.
Yeah.
And it's something that they completely ignore as far as prosecution at a federal level.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, of course.
Oh, for sure. We knew that was going to happen. Carrying concealed guns without a permit is now legal in nearly half the country. I think it's 24 states, 25 states.
25 now.
It's 25 now.
Georgia, yeah.
Well, it's 20. It's 24 now. Georgia hasn't signed it yet. It's on his desk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, once they sign it, then it'll be 25. It'll be half of the fucking country. It needs to be fucking 50.
Yes. Where was I? Carrying concealed guns without a permit is now legal in nearly half the country. Bounty laws enforced not by governments, which can be sued in federal court, but by rewards to private citizens for filing lawsuits, have proliferated on issues from classroom speech to vaccination since the U.S. Supreme Court declined to strike down the legal tactic in Texas. They're talking about the allowing minors to get shots and the teaching kids things that the parents do not believe that they should be taught. Right?
Yeah. Which shouldn't even be an issue because stop sending your children to be educated by your enemies.
Yes.
Public indoctrination centers.
Yeah, since the Supreme Court declined to strike down the legal tactic in Texas. Yeah, this is a New York Times article.
Yeah. And we all know how the Times is.
Yes. The moves in an election year have raised questions about the extent to which they are performative as opposed to sustainable. Some Republican bills are bold at first glance but vaguely worded. Some appear designed largely to energize base voters. That's no shit. That happens.
Yeah, adventure. The man
that happens on both. That happens on both sides. Many, however, send a strong cultural message. That's their intention.
Yeah,
right.
Because it's not about simply maneuvering things ever so slightly. It's about literally fundamentally altering an entire culture to align with their worldview. And I don't care which side of the fence you're on. That's wrong.
To quote whoever it is, it's politics is downstream of the culture. Right?
Yeah.
So as the culture changes, as people demand things, politicians will go, oh, look, I can gain favor by supporting this. And they support it. Totally shocked. Totally shocked.
Oh, what?
Who would think that would ever happen? More, however, send a strong cultural message and divisions will widen further, said Percival Squire, an expert on state legislators at the University of Missouri. If the Supreme Court hands more power over to the states on issues like abortion and voting, as it did when it said in 2019 that partisan gerrymandering was beyond federal jurisdiction.
Because it is.
Oh my God, the 10th Amendment should be enforced.
Oh, isn't it interesting that only seems to matter when it's really convenient? And other times, the 10th Amendment's just meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. It's there's no.
Well, yeah,
there's no division of powers.
The 10th Amendment gets continuously shit on at every fucking turn because of the so-called supremacy clause.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lon Harachi'd still be in a fucking cage if it weren't for the supremacy clause.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
He should be under the cage, not in a cage. But
hopefully, he would have been taken care of.
Oh, was he arrested in the state that had the death penalty?
No, but there were a lot of angry people in Idaho at the time.
Really? I'm kind of surprised Idaho didn't have the death penalty in the 90s.
Well, we're entering a new era of state-centered policymaking. That's
you mean like it fucking should have been from the word go?
So help me with this name. That is Karthik, Karthick. Karthik.
Yeah, I think so.
Ramakrishnan, Ramakrishnan.
Maybe it's Karthik Ramakrishnan.
Rama, whatever.
Ramallah
Professor
Ding Dong?
Professor in Public Policy and Political Science at the University of California, Riverside. Quote, we may be heading into a future where you can have conservative states and progressive states deciding that they're better off pushing their own visions of what government should be. Oh my God, it's the Articles of the Confederation.
Oh, look at that.
Oh my God, states should be in control of their own boundaries.
What?
Wow,
Oh my God!
Almost like that coup that they orchestrated back in the 1700s. Didn't
the same people surprised by this shit are the same ones that shit all over Cliven Bundy 8 years ago this week.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the thing is it's as Chris brought up the coup in 1789. It's and those people, the people who are surprised by this, are unaware of what we're talking about when we mention a coup happening in 1789. They have no idea because what they heard in school, which they completely believed, was, and then the founding fathers decided that the Constitution or the Articles of Confederation just didn't make the federal government strong enough, and they realized that wasn't going to work. And they believed that that's the real story.
If you learn that much in school.
Yeah.
If you learn, like that might be like AP history learning.
Now.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No. Like Shays' Rebellion happened because the government was fucking over the local farmers. And then the federal government went, the Articles of the Confederation limit our abilities. And the Federalists went, look what we can do.
Yep, now we can use this crisis.
Never let a crisis go to waste.
Mm-hmm.
Said
ever since the dawn of time.
Ever.
I support Aaron Burr Tactical Pistol Solutions. Just
I wish Daniel Shea had seceded, bro. I'm just putting that out there.
Well, look at the state of Jones. Look at a lot of the other rebellions, and that's the funny thing is how many rebellions actually happened in like the decade after the end of the Revolutionary War. There was actually a ton of them because people were now railing against the attempt at consolidation of power by all of these elites who had still been elites. Don't forget, a lot of the founding fathers had been elites under the British rule.
Yep.
And they weren't ready to give up that elite status.
Yeah, I mean the 10th Amendment literally exists because like I think half the states said that they wouldn't sign.
Yeah, they didn't want. Yeah, they did. They didn't want to deal with. They saw it for what it was. I mean, you had a ton of the anti-federalists who understood what the Constitution actually represented. The entire reason that the Bill of Rights exists is because it was designed to placate the anti-federalists. Remember, the Federalists didn't even want the Bill of Rights to exist.
Yep.
You mean elites didn't want anything that could potentially limit their power?
Yeah.
This is most shocked me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like, I love to point when people are like, oh, George Washington. You know that George Washington owned like an enormous amount of land and an enormous amount of businesses and was very much like he wanted to be referred to as His Excellency. Like, that's who George Washington was. And remember, none of that land was his. He didn't earn any of that. He got it from marrying Martha and from his brother when his brother died. That's where he got everything. He didn't earn any of that.
So I'm going to skip a few paragraphs now. And then another state rights thing. Yet another would enforce a ban on ghost guns and assault weapons with a California version of the Texas's recent 6-week ban on abortion, featuring a $10,000 bounty to encourage lawsuits from private citizens against anyone who sells, distributes, or manufactures those type of firearms.
Can't sue me if you don't know I made it.
Because
you can't stop the signal.
Because states' rights. Yeah.
On an unrelated note, I may have ordered an Ender 3, but hey.
When Russia finishes Ukraine and invades California, we're gonna let them have it. But,
with our California compliant ARs with the bullet button.
No, bullet button's illegal.
Oh, that's right. They changed that again.
Yeah, bullet button's illegal.
Well, see, it's the thing that goes up. That's what's going to happen. That's what you guys need. The thing that goes up.
The shoulder thing that goes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the fucking robotic arm on the back of the fucking gun.
And then the rest of the article is just back and forth, California, Texas, blah 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 blah. I don't really care to get into it, but
yeah, well, because that's how people see it, right? They see the world in black and white, and they see it as either. Well, actually, more specifically, they tend to see the world as red and blue. They only see one side or the other. It's this false dichotomy that we always talk about, where it's this like stupid right-left paradigm that somehow it's you're either red or you're blue, which is why when they deal with us and we're like, no, fuck them both. They're like, what?
They short circuit. They don't know how to respond.
Yeah. they just start stuttering and stumbling and like, whoa.
Oh,
the NPCs have no dialogue script written for that kind of input.
Oh no, they say if you don't support X, then that means Y wins.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've gotten that. I've also gotten the immediate from blue, right? From the blue side of things. I've gotten when I say, well, no, fuck Republicans too. Well, if you don't like it, why don't you leave? Yeah.
Just get up and leave.
Well, I'm sorry. If I don't want to participate in your false fucking dichotomy, then I should just leave. Well,
like, why should
Brandon,
don't threaten me with a good time.
So yeah, Brandon says again, have yet to see a California legal AR in California. I've seen one or two at the local range, and they're terrible. First off, they're absolutely terrible. But they're FUD types. They're the ones. They're the ones that go, well, when they come to take our guns, I'll just throw a stock on it and shut up.
No, you won't. You'll hand it over and bend over like a good little slave.
One of my former coworkers completely changed his AR to compliant.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Go eat your Cheetos. Shut up.
Total NRA,
you know what?
Too.
It's like it's not like I'm looking forward to them dropping the new brace rule sometime between now and August, but
we're expecting a ghost gun rule from Biden in the next couple of days.
Yeah, which is hence my Fed posting meme of the kaboom.
Oh,
yes.
We're gonna have so much fun next week.
First of all, you can't stop the fucking signal. Second of all, the Supreme Court's already ruled that home-built firearms are unregulatable and unenforceable, and any law that tried to do either would, in fact, violate the Constitution inherently. That's already established jurisprudence.
What is it? The GCA? Is it the GCA that says you have a right to build your own firearm?
I don't remember if it's the GCA, but I remember that for sure there was a Supreme Court case in the late 90s, I think, mid 90s, late 90s, that established that any law trying to forbid building home-built firearms, the majority opinion was any law that attempted to forbid the building of home-built firearms would not only be unenforceable by its very nature, but would in fact be blatantly unconstitutional.
We just need to, we need to make a meme that just says laughs and looty.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's incredibly strict gun laws.
Chuckles and Slamfire.
I mean, all I really need to say is that, there's extremely strict laws in anti-gun laws in Ireland.
Yeah. That's why so many people have trouble starting their cars.
Well, that's why, there's people with closets full of AR-18s, not AR-180s, AR-18s, and FALs and things. Like that's, because of the strict gun laws. That's why. It's ridiculous. That's why you have photos from the 1970s after those laws were passed of people walking down the street with RPGs in their hands. Is because those gun laws really fucking work well. Like that was one of those things I was laughing to Lindsay about just the other night, where I was like, I always thought growing up, because like I was laughing about how the British and the English and the Irish even like to pick up the American gangster talk and mannerisms and things, and how when I would come home, home to the U.S. during the summers and stuff, that I always would like be all into like listening to Tupac and Biggie and everything else. Like, oh man, they're so cool, right? Because all of us 90s kids, we were like that, right? We all thought it was super cool. Meanwhile, I would then go home to Ireland to a closet full of RPG 7s and AR 18s and shit, and like have to run through streets dodging actual gunfights and between soldiers and the IRA, and like somehow though I thought these gangsters were living the hardcore life, and I had no idea what I was actually experiencing. Like it never registered.
Are always hard. Talking that. Okay. One more quote. It says, this is from Michaels, the UCLA professor. He says, quote, "In a world in which the federal government has abdicated some of its core responsibilities, states like California have to figure out where their responsibilities are. The hard question is, where does it end?" It doesn't. It doesn't end, because government will always keep getting worse and worse and worse to justify its existence.
Yep.
And they will keep manufacturing crises in order to continue to.
Well, yeah,
there's not one already there. They will manufacture it.
And the difference between states. Look at what we just talked about earlier today when we were talking about the Arizona war with California.
Yep.
Where the two states, like California, was about to just take water away from Arizona, and Arizona was like, "The fuck you are," and deployed 100 National Guard with like fucking Maxim fucking machine guns to their side of the river where they're trying to build the Parker Dam, and we're like, "Try it, watch what happens." Yep. And it took a Supreme Court decision to make that stop.
So.
Not gonna lie, I would love to see it. I was gonna say I would have loved to see that happen. Just let it happen.
No. We're gonna watch this one play out. It's gonna be great. But that was the California of the 1920s, though.
Andrew and I sit on a mountaintop overlooking it.
Yeah, just crack open some beers. Like, oh, this is gonna be fucking good.
Looking down the hill, going, "Oh, here comes Jason."
Don't worry, we'd bring like a camper van. We'd have a toaster oven hooked up. We'd have pizza rolls. It'd be great.
Yeah,
we'll eat pizza rolls.
Bring bring an extra stock so I can take out my California compliant AR and switch it out.
You fucking kidding me? If I'm doing that, I'm bringing like an FGC 9 with full auto capability in it. Just like, here you go, enjoy.
Myanmar.
Only one? I mean,
well, one for him. And so you don't really need two. Are you gonna dual wield doing some fucking Call of Duty bullshit?
Yes.
You'll hit all of one thing, and it won't be the thing you're aiming at. Yeah, it'll work out well.
That's fine. It's not my ammo. It's fine.
I'm just laying down suppressive fire.
Hey, we gotta get one for Brandon too, because he's a NorCal boy. He'll be there.
Yeah. Well, I love the comment in the chat that there's no firearms in Ireland. Yeah, none. No one owns a gun. It's amazing.
Right, speaking of states' rights and firearms, we got a hard story, and I only want to talk about the story. I mean, it's a hard story, and I want to bring it up. But we have a mutual friend who is going to be entering the same sort of situation in the near future, and I want to bounce it off you guys. So this is slaying mom Cassie Carley was terrified of abusive ex-boyfriend. This is a New York Post article. This is about this girl out of Alabama. Slaying mom Cassie Carley's body was found in a shallow grave in Alabama. Was reportedly so terrified of her abusive ex-boyfriend that she asked her father to bring his firearm to child custody pickups.
Why didn't she get fucking one herself?
We're gonna get to that. Callie, 37, had ominously warned her sister before her death that, quote, if something happened to me, her ex-boyfriend, Marcus, would be to blame. Quote, he was never physical with her or put his hands on her, but he knew she feared him, and I think he used that against her. But he would also be kind of gentle to her sometime and try to get her to bring her guard down. Right. That's
how manipulators work. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how psychological abuse works.
Yeah. She added, Cassie would say he was being crazy and sometimes ask my dad to come to a child pickup with her, telling him, quote, please bring your gun, because he had a concealed carry. Carly had also considered obtaining such a permit in the weeks before her death, but stopped short when he grew amicable and brought her guard down again. She was found buried inside of a barn in Springfield, about 300 miles north of where she was last seen.
God, I hope the dad went after him and fucking buried him.
No, the guy was arrested.
God damn it. Under the prison, not in it.
Yeah. But this was from Florida. The guy was arrested in Tennessee. He was running, but so she was from Florida. Florida is now pushing constitutional carry. They don't have constitutional carry yet. So for her to obtain a permit, she would have to obtain a firearm, and then go through the whole process, and then she would. So
that process in Florida is not necessarily the easiest.
No, so her reluctance and the state's rules in place prevented her from being able to protect herself, legally be able to protect herself. And again, in this sort of situation, she wanted to be by the book, right? She's not going to conceal carry without a permit and get her kid taken away and have that used against her in court and all that other stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say,
especially in that case, especially if the abusive ex-boyfriend is the father of the child, I wouldn't want to run the risk that child ends up in his sole custody.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, in relation to that, though, I will say it is much better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely true.
Oh, but
jury nullification is a thing, ladies and gentlemen.
Hard to lose custody to a guy that's dead.
Yeah, well, this dude fucking looks like a real winner too. Like, if you look at his photo, like he very much in his mugshot looks evil.
Her ex tried to plant recording devices in Carly's apartment after she gave birth, tracked her phone, and tried to monitor her movements and communications.
People like that just need a bullet to the back of the fucking skull.
So,
oh no, I want them to see it coming.
The verbal abuse was particularly bad. He would body shame her when she was pregnant, and just about everything she did was right, or wasn't right, or not.
Dude looks like a fucking chode.
He called her stupid.
Look at his photo. The next one down, or a couple down from that. His mugshot.
He called her stupid and said she didn't know anything, that she was going to be the worst mother ever, just to put her down and make her feel inferior to him. The emotional abuse was just so extreme. Oh
my God.
He does not look like a nice person.
Under the prison.
Yes. But my whole point of bringing this up is there's plenty of moral cause to disobey good laws, right? Depending on the definition of good, but there's plenty of moral right and moral cause for this woman to have just said fuck the law and carried a gun. She might still be alive, but had she done that, her ex would have reported her. Police would have arrested her because,
her ex only would have reported her if he found out about it. And the only way he found out about it if he was staring down the barrel.
No, I don't know.
Well, and I mean, that's the thing too, is a gun can simply be a deterrent, but The reality is, if you have these laws in place where if I'm carrying the weapon, I'm going to possibly be looking at jail time just for carrying it, you're now ensuring that if I'm going to draw it, I am going to use it because I have to.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just guaranteeing that it will be a fatal encounter. At that point. So if you actually care about people, it's a bad idea from that side. And on the other side, people who are worried about that, and they don't necessarily, because most people don't want to kill someone.
No.
Even soldiers, they've done studies and only 30% of shots are even actually aimed at the target in combat.
Mm-hmm.
Because people don't want to kill other people. They just inherently don't really actually want to kill other people. At least normal people don't. So
that's why isn't it like thousands
to dumb that down?
Right. I was gonna say, isn't it something like 100,000 rounds per enemy combatant killed or something like that?
I'm not sure, but there's
it's like 80 something.
No, it was far higher than that, especially towards the end of Afghanistan.
Which one's that one, Andrew?
That book, On Killing. It is by Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman. It's the psychological cost of learning to kill in war and society. In this book, he specifically talks about that 30%. It's about 30% of all rounds fired are actually fired, even while the enemy is firing at you in combat. Only 30% are actually fired at the target by the average soldier. Because people don't want to kill other people. And given the fact that people don't want to kill other people, they don't want to be forced into a position where they have to use the weapon if they pull it out. So they want to go about it the legal way so that if they pull it out and it deters the situation, everything's fine. They don't have to worry about legal repercussions for that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have these laws like this in place, you put her in a position where she knows if she carries against the law, she is going to have to pull it out and shoot him. Because if she doesn't kill him, he's going to use that against her.
According to the Government Accountability Office, and now this is a very old article, but according to the Government Accountability Office, the U.S. has fired 250,000 rounds per insurgent killed, and that's both Iraq and Afghanistan.
Send me that link in the Telegram chat, and I'll send it to the boys at Biting the Bullet. They do this is what taxpayers paid for segment. They'll enjoy that one.
Like I said, it's old. It's from 2011, so it's but still.
Who cares?
But either way, it's still that that's the thing though, is you're forcing somebody into a position where they're going to choose, if they're a moral person, they're going to choose their morality over their own safety. And now you're just the government has done with these laws is made sure that this woman is going to die.
Yep.
Yeah. They put her who she's smaller. She has to protect her son. They put her at a disadvantage legally.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know. That went better than I thought, and I'll have to.
You were expecting us to scream and yell a little more?
Well, I didn't really expect anything of it. I just wanted to bring it up so that it was out there, so that just give people something to think about.
Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is any permit law is simply a barrier to entry. It's setting an arbitrary barrier to entry.
It's selling you your rights back for a fee.
I haven't sent this article to our mutual friend, but it's something that we've talked about just a little bit. So,
at the end of the day, you are better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6 every fucking time.
Yeah,
it is better that you wind up having to defend yourself in court for why you had a gun and why you shot that motherfucker than for you to be 6 feet under. Because at the end of the day, you don't get your kid if you're dead, do you? You don't get to do anything. You don't get to watch them grow up, anything else, whether it's through plexiglass or not. At least if you're in prison, you can watch your kid grow up. You can kind of be there for them. If you're dead, that's it.
And I
would take that to a jury trial every time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's going to a jury trial, and I'm looking the jury in the eyes and going, would you have done the same thing?
Yeah.
Yep. And the other thing there too is when you consider juries are incredibly slanted generally towards mothers protecting their children.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Don't fuck with a mama bear.
Don't fuck with a mama bear. So even if she got nailed for the carrying a firearm without a permit, chances are pretty damn good that she'll never see the inside of a jail cell for that. Because in most states, I believe in the state of Wisconsin, especially where Andrew and I are,
Yeah,
getting
I'm
caught
sure.
is a
Florida.
misdemeanor.
Florida's got pretty good laws on that.
Yeah, getting caught in Wisconsin is a misdemeanor. That
I think so. I'm
pretty sure it
carrying
is.
without a permit
See,
is
in California. Okay, here's in California, concealed carrying your firearm without a permit is a misdemeanor, but having more than 10 rounds in the firearm is a felony.
That's fucking ridiculous. Well, in Wisconsin, we have open carry too, so you could
that's banned
simply open carry it, and you would be allowed to just do that. So she could have, if it's Wisconsin, strap it on to the outside of her hip, have it there ready to go, and she's not breaking any law.
Yeah. All right. Let's
in Wisconsin, Andrew, it is a Class A misdemeanor, penalty of up to 9 months behind bars, a fine of not to exceed $10,000 or both.
That's a small price to pay.
Yeah, small price to pay to not be under the fucking ground, dead in a fucking barn.
Yeah, 300 miles from home. All right. How about I don't know if this is a laugh, but it'll make somebody laugh. Public school says it's searching student lunches brought from home, confiscating excessive chips, soda, and candy.
Stop sending your kids to the enemy.
A Western Pennsylvania public school district announced that one of its schools was to begin searching student lunches brought from home this week and confiscating, quote, excessive quantities of chips, soda, candy, and other snacks. The Aliquippa, Aliquippa, Aliquippa. The Aliquippa School District posted a Facebook message saying that, quote, due to excessive amounts of outside snacks being brought into Alapaca Senior High School, including, quote, shopping bags full of chips and bottled and canned drinks and candy. Starting April 4th, each student is limited in bringing to school up to 4-ounce bag of chips and up to 1 20-ounce bottle of canned beverage.
You know, if I were to ever play this game, if I were to ever get caught up in this game with a school district, go ahead.
Hold on. If more than allotted items are brought to school, authorities will throw them out, the message said.
Then you're going to pay me for the fucking money you wasted, you son of a bitch.
In addition, the rule also applies to students who bring their lunches to school, which will be searched.
No, they won't, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my kid a locked lunchbox with a key. And on the outside, it's going to have a big sticker on it that says, Ligma balls.
Fourth Amendment?
Yeah, just the text of the Fourth Amendment, just right there. And then the Fifth Amendment on the front of it. So fourth on top, fifth on the front. And then just there. Or
the Second Amendment on the bottom.
No, that's the Second Amendment's inside it. It's
way when they get
inside.
It open.
Yeah. And
origami napkin folded into the shape.
Yeah, it's a little crane of death. Look at that.
Oh no, it'd be like on Red 2 the hammer moves. On Red 2, the guy that kills the guy with a piece of origami. That's what I'm sending my kid to school with.
Yeah, it's no
hold on.
What you do is you give them a combination lock, because the Supreme Court has already ruled that giving up the combination and being forced to would constitute a violation of the Fifth Amendment.
Right.
So you give them a combination lock on the lunch bag, and at that point, if they cut into it, it's a legal search and seizure. So,
or if they break the lock or anything like that, it's an illegal search.
Some folks were none too pleased by the announcement. Quote, you're going to tell parents what they can and cannot send with their child to eat? That's absurd, said one Facebook commenter.
Well, that's government for you.
Quote, maybe if school lunches weren't so tiny and gross, they wouldn't need to bring extra snacks.
No fucking shit.
Well, I mean, tiny, I can see, and gross, yes.
Well, I remember you remember what Michelle Obama did to school lunches.
Well, yeah, that's right. She did
I was gonna
change
say,
them.
when we were in school, it was. I remember the square or the rectangular pizza. That shit
The
was
triangle,
bomb.
the triangle piece of pizza
This was
No,
delicious.
no,
that
the
filled up, that
rectangular.
took
Ours
up
were
like half the
rectangular.
tray. Oh man,
Yeah, it was
Ours were
rectangular.
rectangular, and they actually they intentionally
here's-
cut them into a specific size because it would fit in the largest compartment in the tray.
Even in Ireland, if you were to pull this, people will be like, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?"
open that soda, I dare you.
Yeah. Tell me, school superintendent, you drive your own car to work every day, yeah?
That's a mighty nice coffee machine you got there, supervisor. It'd be a shame if
Oh.
something were to happen to it.
Yeah,
Sodium,
well, I mean-
just a little tab of sodium added to the coffee machine.
I'll do worse than that. I'll wash his coffee pot out with soap.
You bastard.
Dawn dish soap in the water reservoir.
Ugh.
I'll break your favorite mug.
No, you gotta just drill a very tiny hole in it,
There you go.
like just on the one side,
You
as they
can't
take a
even
drink,
see it.
leaks. Yeah, but
break
leaks.
break the handle off the coffee pot and just set it on there, so it looks like it's right, but it's not. And then you got to pick it up. Yeah. Another put a little lock through the
That's
hole.
cruel.
On the,
No, that's
put a
cruel.
no, you
unusual.
put a little lock through the hole on the
on the plug.
cord, on
So
the
they-
plug.
On the cord.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Another commenter called the school officials the lunch police.
All
and
the teachers are
suggested they
going through DTs.
quote stay out of parenting business and focus on giving our kids a quality education. No shit.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, and it's not like school officials have much room to talk. Have you seen the sodium and calorie content
Oh
Yeah.
of those
God.
school lunches? It's like 2,000 calories a meal. A
Yep.
meal.
That's supposed to be your entire day's worth of calories.
Yeah. And it's a meal.
hmm
And then it just goes off. The article just goes off on some back and forth between parents, and one of the parents is supporting it, and other parents aren't. So,
I mean, of course,
again,
the other parents aren't, because the other parents are the kinds of people who think that everything they want is a human right, and anything they don't want, well, shut up, you don't get a right to that.
Yep.
It's fascism on the blue side versus fascism on the right side. That's all it is.
I
Yeah.
love Michael Malice's comment about Republicans are progressives driving the speed limit.
that's actually a comment from, I think it's Ace Arcist. I think he said that, and Michael Malice stole it.
Oh well.
Oh.
The only
everybody
person I ever
steals
heard
shit.
it from was everybody steals shit.
Yeah.
Everybody steals shit from Ace specifically. Like fucking
Wow.
Ace is a gem. Watching that is
I don't understand how
Fucking-
he doesn't sleep.
I know. Oh my god, that guy just goes and goes, and he's fucking hilarious. Every single
Mhm.
it's just glorious because it's just well-reasoned, simple arguments, and then they're like, "Well, fuck you, you're a white supremacist," and like that's basically the argument that they.
Well, that's what always happens though when you start winning an argument against, especially the
What is
left.
it? Slander becomes the tool of the loser.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, I don't remember who said that, but I'm sure somebody said it.
I think it's slander is the tool of the defeated or something like
Oh, the
that.
defeated, yeah.
Yeah, the defeated.
No, that might be one of those old Greek philosophers that said that. One of those Enlightenment boys.
Oh, that wouldn't have been Greek if it was Enlightenment, but yeah.
Same fucking whatever.
That's
Something.
you're off by like 3,000 years. That's
Hey,
that
I took AP history. Thank you very much.
well, you
Well,
didn't
that
pay
explains it.
attention.
And I did not have my lunch searched.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, apparently it's actually, you were right. It is Socrates. He said, when the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser.
yep. Hashtag suck it.
That was Socrates Johnson.
Socrates Johnson.
Yeah,
He
that's
said,
only.
I saw him in Bill and Ted. He did a really great job.
Yeah, exactly. It's-
But you know, you talk about you took AP history. What
No,
you
I
had,
didn't. I didn't take AP history.
I was gonna say it.
I
you-
dropped
you-
out. I dropped out in 10th grade.
Well, fair enough. But I think it's hilarious because like I went to a public school, and my oldest daughter, goes to like the rival school from the one I went to, and
Ew.
oh, it's hilarious.
Does that hurt? Does that hurt a little bit?
Fuck no, I don't give two shits. But at any rate, it's hilarious because the shit that she's learning as a sophomore was the stuff that they were teaching me in 8th grade.
Mhm.
I'm not
Yeah.
even going to put in any input on the quality of Irish schools in comparison to American ones because it would hurt your all's feelings.
Oh, I know.
No, it wouldn't.
I know.
No,
No,
it wouldn't. Because it wouldn't surprise me one little bit.
Well, I mean,
Like-
first off, just explaining it would go over our heads.
Yeah, probably. It's the things that we learned. Like I moved here at age 14, right? And when my first day of high school here, I was like, you don't know this already? What's going on? That's seriously, we're covering this again. Is this review? No? Oh Lord. Okay then.
Yeah. Well, that's like a cousin of mine who he went to like 4 different school districts. And he went like K through 3 in one district. When they moved to the other district, the second one, he's like, you guys haven't already covered this at all? It was like long division in 3rd grade. It's like, you haven't done this already? Like,
Yeah.
No, this is new. Okay.
That's how it
Can
was
I
when my.
skip this?
That's what happened when my kid's little sister. Like, my kids were homeschooled, and the little sister was, of course, homeschooled also.
Hmm.
But she decided to go to school, to the local high school for her senior year. And
She was so far ahead of everybody. It was
it's
ridiculous.
ridiculously ahead. She's so far ahead of everybody that she gets bored, and because she gets bored, like the other people there don't really like her.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
do I know that feeling?
So
Never be too smart in a public school
Yes.
because the smart ones are the ones that get bullied the most. You're the ones that get picked on the most because, well, how dare you be smarter than the rest of us? You act like you're so smart. Well, because I am.
Because I am far and away smarter than you. Yes.
I'm infinitely smarter than you. The level of intelligence that I apparently have based on your schoolwork is so far beyond where you're at that you might as well be an actual Neanderthal.
Well, I mean,
okay.
how does that saying go? The government will never give you the information you need to beat them.
Yeah,
Overthrow them,
George
yeah.
Carlin. Yeah, they'll never give you the education that you need to overthrow them.
Yep.
Who's the guy that wrote Dumbing Us Down?
They wrote what?
Wrote Dumbing Us Down.
Oh, I can't remember. He wrote a
The
couple other books, too.
ex-school teacher out of New York.
Yeah, he wrote a bunch of other books too.
Yeah. He's fantastic, read. But speaking
Including,
of,
if I remember right, Non-Campus Mentis, which is a great book if you've never read it. Absolutely hilarious.
all right. Speaking of that, we're going to transition to another article, and I cannot read the title because the title gives it away, and I'll just have to read the first paragraph. As part of a March poll of American attitudes towards Russia's invasion of Ukraine, researchers at Quinnipiac University asked 1,374 U.S. adults nationwide whether they would, quote, leave the country or, quote, stay and fight if Russia invaded. 38% of adults polled overall, and 48% of those between 18 and 34 said they would flee.
You
45%.
bunch of fucking cowards.
Fucking cowards.
45% said they would stay.
Pussies.
The poll also
Meanwhile,
found that
everybody on this particular podcast is like, Wolverines!
Yeah, I was gonna say immediately.
cue the Rambo montage. putting on the face paint and the headband. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? If I'm watching Russian paratroopers come down, I'm going, oh, This is the best day.
Loot drops galore. Loot drops.
Oh, I wonder if there's any AK-12s. I wonder if there's any AK-12s.
Especially based on their performance in Ukraine. Like, I'm going, this is going to be so easy. Oh my God.
Yeah. I'll trade you a box of Twinkies for those nods, bro.
Yeah, dude, I fucking fought the Taliban and they were better equipped with better crypto on their comms than the Russians.
Fucking using FRS Open. They were using FRS. There's reports of some of them using their personal cell phones.
Yeah,
that's why one of the generals got greased, was because he was using a Ukrainian freaking SIM card in his personal cell phone. And they just tracked his GPS location and went,
oh, yeah,
look,
they were like, oh, that's hard.
No, they're using
their Tinder.
They're using FRS Open communicate. There's like Ukrainian people with FRSs hooked up to computers, and they're live broadcasting Russian conversations.
Yeah, they're not only transmitting in the clear, right, but they're doing it on FRS. So they're not even coding the transmissions in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, for record, like FRS is the what you get from like the Walmart bubble pack Walkman.
Yeah.
Right, even like a Baofeng. Even a Baofeng has some level of encryption. It's higher than FRS. It's stronger than FRS, but like FRS is like the $12 pair of that you buy when you go camping with your kids.
Yeah, to put this in perspective, right?
That hunters used to use to be like, hey, I shot an extra deer. Do you want to tag it? And then the DNR would show up and go, you can't do that.
Yeah, the pigs. The difference is, so there's the G and F, right? Mm-hmm. And F is the one that most of the cheap walkie-talkies in the United States operate on. It allows a vague level of encryption, sort of, kind of, but all you got to do is
easily
find
breakable
and
multiple channels.
So that's that. The G one is going to be the one that most like airplanes use and emergency services use and everything else. Still breakable because everybody has scanners in rural America and just listens in on everything. That's kind of how rural America, at least in Wisconsin, entertains itself.
Oh God. I have
the right to remain silent.
That's right. Sitting in the kitchen, drinking a beer and listening to the scanners. But
I may or may not run the police scanner around here just so I know when they come.
Flip flops and boxer briefs, listen to the scanner.
Yeah. Exactly. And
I've never done that. Never, not once.
But if you're in G though, in the United States, you have to have licensing in order to use those radios. You can buy them. I actually have a set of
to broadcast.
Yes, to broadcast, not to receive, but to broadcast. And I actually have a set. I don't have a license to use them, and they really just kind of stay in a box in the event that I need them. But they have full digital encryption. They have multiple channels, multiple preset encryptions, customizable encryption settings, everything else. They're infinitely more encodable and harder to break and monitor than the stuff that the Russians are using, and they are way behind the encryption that should be available to a modern military without any effort. And don't forget that the Russians were supposedly rolling out a new radio that was even more encrypted, but it turns out that all the people who said they were rolling that out just pocketed all the money and
built by the lowest bidder.
No wonder. Yeah. I mean, look at most of the hardware that they've rolled into Ukraine using. It's mostly outdated horse shit that hasn't been relevant in combat since the 60s.
Fucking out there with fucking Mosins.
Right.
Well, and the thing is too, that's ridiculous about is that's their professional military.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not allowed to use conscripts internationally. By
Except
Russian
the
law.
First wave was conscripts.
They don't care about the law.
Yeah, but I mean, like, according to the Russian law, like they can't. Yeah, but I mean, they're holding all their conscripts back, especially because you don't really use conscripts where, if they defected, things would go very badly because conscripts tend to do that. So, it's weird. It's funny how forcing people to go fight for you might not work out well.
All right. The poll also found that 68% of Republicans and 57% of independents said they would stay, while 40% of Democrats declared the same.
That's if you decided to invade the United States, even those numbers.
Where are you going to flee? First off.
Well, yeah. Where are you going? You going to Canada?
Either Canada or Mexico.
Mexico. You're going to go to Mexico.
You're not going to go to Mexico. You're not going to.
Well, honestly, if anybody invades the United States, they're probably coming from Mexico.
No, Canada.
Yeah.
Tanker, one of the cargo ships landing in the port of Oakland. You know how bad that would. You know how bad that would fuck us if they landed like Port of Los Angeles, Port of Oakland at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Just saying, putting that out there. Writing the National Review, Charles C.W. Cook summarized the findings as, quote, a majority of the prime-aged Americans whom the United States would need were such a crisis to arise, imagine that they would flee if the crisis ever came. He also went on to say, quote,
they're pussies.
He also, quote, went on to say, quote, let us note for the record that this is the most elemental question that a free man can ever be asked. There are no caveats or complexities here, and there is barely any politics either. If the United States were to be invaded by Russia, Americans' defense of itself could not possibly be construed as, quote, imperialism or interventionism or a foreign war or conflict of choice. Nor could skeptics meaningfully complain that they were being asked to fight or die in, quote, a corner of a foreign field. In such a circumstances, we'd be protecting home and all who cherish it. To demur when called upon to defend their home from conquest is to willing to turn its oneself into an exile.
Yep. You know, and the area of Wisconsin that Andrew and I live in, if they ever made it this far in, good fucking luck in this corner of the state. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm gonna drop that National Review article in the group chat for you guys.
But I mean, Andrew, obviously you know what I'm talking about. But think about the Bluffs, or
even before they get here, imagine trying to
get through the Rockies, for example.
If people are willing to fight, imagine trying to get through Los Angeles.
Fuck, bro.
Imagine trying to get through LA. Can you imagine trying to get up the Hollywood fucking hills if there are actually people fighting you?
You wouldn't get very far.
Welcome to the first, like the Triple X movie, Triple X2 or whatever it was. Welcome to the first tank jacket in history. LA's like, hold my blunt, bro.
Yeah, right.
Are you kidding me? And look at how much Russian military equipment has been stolen in the Ukraine, right? Can you imagine in fucking South Central? Like at the moment they even turned their back, it just
tank
be
is up
gone.
On blocks, missing treads.
Yeah, they turn their back and be like, okay, Yuri, look at, and they turn around and there's just nothing left. It's a frame. Like, how did they cut the welds that fast? What the hell? It's all gone.
South Central NASCAR, baby.
Oh man, South Central puts NASCAR pit crews to fucking shame.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? The T-72 would stop at a stop sign and then not be able to go anymore because its treads would be gone.
Can you imagine trying to drive like open top Humvees or get military equipment through the ghetto with all those tall buildings?
Nope.
Oh yeah, there's no way that's
box.
happening.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's the thing is,
it's raining.
Yeah, well, what we're seeing though is that isn't what would happen, right? Probably everybody's just going to run. They're not going to fight. They're not going to try and defend themselves. And I guarantee you that those gangbangers that think they're so hardcore, as soon as actual armored equipment shows up and actual military shows up, they're tucking tail and they're running like the little bitches they are at the end of the day.
Yep.
And what we're seeing is that the majority probably of people who are like, well, I'd stay and fight, and anybody comes in, every blade of grass, are actually the kinds of people who would go, oh shit, and pack up and run. And they wouldn't stand and fight. They wouldn't figure out how to start an insurgency, nothing. They would run. And don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place to run like a little bitch. But
strategic withdrawal.
Yes. A good warrior knows when to stand and fight and when to run like a little bitch. So these are important things, but that as the initial invasion happens is not when you run. And they would run.
This is again another case that gives credence to the balkanization that we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, Idaho, they're not running. Montana, they're not running.
Oh fuck no.
No.
Even most of your Iowa, most of your upper Midwest.
Iowa, the Dakotas, they're not running.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
Pine Ridge sure ain't fucking running. Pine Ridge is.
I mean, even if you just look at the number of deer licenses, just I know it's a lot of FUD lore, but if you just look at the number of deer licenses,
I will take a FUD in a tree stand over some urbanite.
Absolutely. If you just look at the number of deer licenses that are sold in the state of Wisconsin every year, last year it was like 485,000.
You know how many of those deer? You know how many of those deer hunters? You know how many of those deer hunters want to be Chris Kyle?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, and know how to shoot at a fairly long range, not like Chris Kyle ranges. They're not snipers, but a fairly long range.
Between 3 and 500 yards, they're relatively effective.
Yeah.
My buddy Tyson in Wyoming popped an elk with a 338 last back in the fall at 850 yards.
Yeah. See.
My longest deer with a 6.5 Creedmoor is about 550.
Yeah. I mean, 338 though is a little unfair because it was intentionally designed to remain stable through.
He got a bison tag. Also, he bought a 4570.
Oh, nice. No, specifically 338 is designed to remain stable through the trans supersonic barrier. So as it goes to subsonic, it stays stable.
That reminds me, I just picked up a 6.5 284. Which is like a 6.5 Creedmoor on steroids.
But I mean, if you could even convince enough people, convince every deer hunter to stay around as a sniper in the woods in Wisconsin, that's almost 500,000 people
who know how to use a rifle,
at a decent range, hiding in trees, and who know how to camouflage. It's not going to go well for you. But yet, a bunch of these people, especially the urbanites, are going to pack up and they're going to run like little bitches. And I think
if it did happen and they took over San Francisco, Oakland, LA, okay, fine.
And
the rest of the country be like, keep it.
And
throw in Portland and Seattle while you're at it. We appreciate it.
Did you guys want to just invade right on up the West Coast? If you guys could just take that whole thing,
just throw them in.
Isn't it the I-5 that runs that entire? Just take that whole I-5 corridor.
I got the joke. I got the joke from Boondock Saints in my head right now. So San Francisco and LA are gone. I'll have a Coke then.
Yeah, I'll have a Coke. Yeah, most other people's reactions would be like, wait, so there might be somebody who's at least halfway reasonable in charge of that area? All right, well,
we'll see what happens. Okay. We'll see what happens.
Let's let that play out.
Let's run with it. Let's just run with it.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to repeat my other thought because that would get me in a lot of trouble.
And the funny thing is,
not with this group, it won't.
If
it will with the police.
Well, there is that.
Yeah. But if you held them to that area, then you just worry about taking that area back. And then when you take it back, and then all of the hardcore lefties are like, oh, we can move home. You go, no, that's ours now.
Yep. Fuck you, no.
I took it back. It's mine.
You can stay in Phoenix. Fuck you.
Yeah.
and then shut off the water valves.
Right here. Fuck you. No.
Homeland Security watchdog omits damaging findings from reports. That's another New York Times article. The Department of Homeland Security's Inspector General and his top aides directed staff members to remove damaging findings from investigative reports on domestic violence and sexual misconduct by officers in the department's law enforcement agencies, according to documents obtained by the New York Times and two government officials familiar with the inquiries. One investigation found that more than 10. One investigation found that more than 10,000 employees of Customs and Border Protection, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the Secret Service, and the Transportation Safety Administration had experienced sexual harassment or sexual misconduct at work. More than 1/3 of those surveyed.
No. What? You mean people who are on a fucking power trip to begin with might be on a power trip with each other?
Well,
no.
This goes hand in hand with that bullshit that came out of New York City not that long ago, where they had to pass a fucking city law to ban cops from having sexual encounters with people in custody.
Suspect and UCs, yeah.
The
report also described a pattern of the agencies using cash payments with payouts as high as $255,000 to settle sexual harassment complaints without investigating or disciplining the perpetrators. Senior officials with the Inspector General's office objected to that finding, suggesting in written comments that it should be removed from the report, which is why the report was never published.
Well, because they don't want to be held to any accountability.
Okay, hold on.
Imagine that.
Hold on. The Inspector General, Joseph Cuffery, also directed his staff to remove parts of another draft report showing internal investigations that found dozens of officers working at the agencies had committed domestic violence, but they received little to no discipline. Cuffery also wanted
law enforcement committing domestic violence laughs in 40%.
Cuffery also wanted a section removed that said the agencies had, quote, put victims and the public at risk of further violence by allowing the perpetrators to keep their firearms, including such findings. He wrote in an internal memo would make his office look like it was, quote, second-guessing DHS disciplinary decisions without full facts.
Time to make some chimmy fucking chongas. Jesus Christ.
Wow, I could never have predicted any of this easily and repeatedly for years.
Yes. It's as if we didn't know this was going on, number one. And
right?
As if we didn't know that they would hide it, number two. Like, that's why people seek positions of power, is so that they can get away with shit like that.
Yeah.
The people, it's Frank Herbert in Dune, where he says it's not so much just that absolute power corrupts absolutely, but that absolute power inherently attracts the corruptible.
All right. Here's the kicker. This is the best part. Cuffery, a Trump appointee who has served as Inspector General since July 2019, has previously blocked investigations against his staff's recommendations. He blocked inquiries into the Secret Service's role in the violent dispersal of protests against police brutality outside the White House in 2020 and on the spread of COVID-19 at that agency. He also delayed an inquiry into whether senior agency officials demoted an employee who criticized the Trump administration.
Oh, you don't fucking say.
Yes. It's
there's a I'm not saying that there's a solution, but there's a solution.
Yeah. The investigations into sexual misconduct and domestic violence took place at law enforcement agencies within the department, particularly the Border Patrol, which is part of the Customs and Border Protection, as they struggled to recruit women and advance them into leadership positions.
Yes, because we all know that the Border Patrol is so noted for its humane treatment of the people that it deals with.
Ed Gonzalez, President Joe Biden's nominee to head ICE, is facing uncertain prospects for confirmation after the police affidavit from last year surfaced, accusing him of domestic violence against his wife.
A cop being violent against his spouse? I've never heard of such a thing. No. That doesn't happen.
Yes. The sexual misconduct inquiry, which started before Cuffery took the Inspector General, included a 2018 survey of employees at the department's police agencies. Of the roughly 28,000 respondents, more than 10,000 said they had experienced sexual harassment or sexual misconduct in the workplace. Of those who had sexual harassment or misconduct, 78% said they did not report the incident.
And here's the thing. Well, one, of course they didn't. But here's the thing is...
Because obviously it does no good to report it.
Yeah, it does no good. And when nothing ever happens to somebody that's doing bad things, there's a point where you just stop, right? You just stop reporting it because there's no point. There's no point in putting in the time and effort anymore. Nothing's going to happen to them. Trust me, I experienced that recently with my own job. But on top of that, remember who goes into these jobs.
Yes.
It tends to be former military. And what is known and has been known for years about the American military? Constant sexual harassment, sexual misconduct and harassment that gets covered up.
Hashtag Fort Hood.
Yeah. When you say somebody, like, you can say to almost anyone that has been in the U.S. Army, that person deserves to be at Fort Hood, and they go, ho, immediately, right? They all know Fort Hood's reputation. So
Andrew, you've heard this story about how we ended up putting one of my freaking TIs in the goddamn hospital because he went into the female dorm in basic training and tried to have his way with one of the female trainees.
Yeah.
And the female or the dorm guard on the female side opened her door, yelled across the hall, "We need help in here." And the entirety of the 60 guys in the male dorm ran across the hall, and everybody may have gotten a shot.
That guy tripped and fell so many times.
But he did. I don't know what happened. It seemed like he tripped over the leg of the bed. I couldn't figure out what happened.
Yeah.
But the investigation determined that he did, in fact, trip and fall down the stairs.
But I mean, that's the thing, is the American military, right, is known for its sexual misconduct. Everybody knows about how females are treated. They know what kind of things happen there. We all know it. And all of us who have been in, we all know it. So, you can't even deny it. We'd like to, but we know. And what happens? It's a pipeline, right, from the military directly into working for ICE, working for the FBI, working for the ATF and the DEA. These are all people who are coming from that environment.
Especially local law enforcement.
More than 1,800 employee allegations of videotaping in bathrooms.
Big shock that people who run a surveillance state would want to continue to do surveillance.
Yes.
Especially when they might get a little
the agencies paid 21 employees nearly $1 million in settlements from sexual harassment related complaints over 6 years. Inspectors found, quote, in most incidents, no record of investigation or disciplinary action in those cases.
Shocker.
And here's the thing, though, is it's because it is dramatically cheaper for businesses and for government agencies to simply pay everybody off.
Yep.
It's just significantly cheaper to just pay them off and go, whatever, here's some money, go away.
Yep. Well, not only that, but it eliminates the bad press.
Yeah.
Well, right. And you also protect the careers of yes men.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you hear about everybody rails against that when you talk about it in the private sector. When you're talking about, this rich billionaire paid off this woman, for example, Trump paid off Stormy Daniels to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no fucking different, but everybody rails against it when it happens in the private sector. But they don't say shit about it when it's the government.
No. All right, let's jump on this last article because we need to laugh. Pennsylvania man arrested for allegedly putting anti-Biden sticker on gas pump. Pennsylvania man is facing charges after he allegedly posted anti-Biden stickers on gas pumps. Thomas Richard Glazeski, 54, of Manor Township, has been charged with resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, harassment, and criminal mischief.
What the fuck?
The incident.
My favorite charge is criminal mischief.
Right?
Mayhem. Mayhem's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine just like a dude with like a 5-page rap sheet that's all criminal mischief, criminal mischief, criminal mischief, criminal mischief. My God, this guy's fucking Loki. Criminal mischief, criminal mischief, criminal mischief.
The incident was captured on video. Gillespie can be heard yelling expletives and, quote, I did that, that's what I did. pointing to anti-Biden stickers on the gas pump. A gas station employee also told authorities that Glaske had sprayed the stickers with a substance to make the stickers harder to remove, according to documents obtained by Lancaster Online.
I definitely didn't suggest that last week.
Gotta love Flex Seal.
Yeah, Glazowski was reportedly upset about the price of gas and President Joe Biden.
Local gas station in just up the road, next town over. They have a sign that says, "Do not try to remove our stickers from our gas pumps. You're the reason they're there."
Yes.
Yeah, they put them there themselves. Don't take them off.
It's vandalism to remove them. And they actually, I just saw in the paper, in the news blotter the other day, they're charging somebody who went there and peeled them off in the middle of the night with vandalism.
$5.39 for regular at my go-to place.
380 or 356 in my town.
So let's see.
389.
$5.39 for regular, $6.19 for diesel.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Well, yeah, I had the where is that photo?
Hey, people, I know it's tempting to try to use the off-road diesel in your vehicles nowadays, but remember, modern diesels, it'll gum up the fuel system and you'll end up spending significantly more, unfortunately.
It's one of those times that I wish I had a Unimog.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other times, but I really wish I had a Unimog. Let's see. Andrew's holding up a sign that says, let's see, 21 gallons for 100 or 21.5 gallons for $100.
22.6 for 84 or 22.6 gallons a year ago, little less than a year ago.
Yeah.
For 84. That $15 adds up every time.
Yeah, and that's me filling my truck from not.
You see the price of eggs?
Yeah, we just bought a dozen eggs today. It was like $4.
Because the avian flu is going through, and they've already dispatched like 17 or 18 million chickens.
Walmart by me still had a flat for like $8.40.
Yeah, well, you noticed too.
I paid $15 for a flat at Winco.
Jesus. You notice too that what they're doing is they're also trying to blame the backyard flocks so that they can come up with an excuse to go on your property and take away your ability to survive independent of their supply chain, even though your backyard flocks don't interact with other chickens and therefore could not
Riverside
possibly
County
get this.
Is still doing that for the Newcastle disease, indiscriminately going into people's backyard.
Georgia has banned mailing chicks. There's a couple of poultry avian God, what are they called? The aviaries down there that sell chicks, and Georgia won't let them be shipped out of state. So it's getting pretty bad. The last time this went through, it was like 50 million chickens were killed.
Oh, and it'll be at least that many this time around. And
so it's like 17 or 18 right now.
Well, and to put in perspective how wide-reaching,
go ahead.
To put in perspective how wide-reaching this can be, there was in the late 90s, there was an issue with a type of disease that could potentially transmit to humans going through the rat populations of pet rats, and they destroyed ratteries. Like all of them, whether any of those rats had ever had interaction with other rats or not, it didn't matter. They killed them all, to be sure. And largely it was a result of somebody trying to breed wild rats back into the fancy rat populations. But that happened, and it is still incredibly difficult to find any open ratteries that are still breeding rats. And it's been 25 years.
Yep.
So what do you think's about to happen to the chickens?
Yeah. For comparison, the powder eggs, dehydrated or freeze dried eggs that you can buy the bags of, those prices are still down.
Yep. What did I say last week? Get a shit ton of powdered eggs. Tons and tons of powdered eggs. Buy lots of powdered eggs. lots of powdered milk. Get your hands on citric acid
Mm-hmm.
while it's still really cheap because it's like $10 for a 5-gallon bucket.
Yep. So
get all this stuff.
We need to do just like a whole episode on prepping.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that would be a fun one.
Yeah, because and I know I take a different view of prepping than a lot of people because I view it from an absolute apocalypse view, and like if I had absolutely nothing modern that I could rely on whatsoever. Period.
Yeah, you got an inch view. I got a good view, and then there's like the homestead view. Inches. I'm never coming home. Good is get out of Dodge. And then the homestead is like bug in, that type of situation.
And we're, my family's more of the homestead type where we've got a good sized garden going, and we just got some plastic 55-gallon drums that I cut in half today, and I'm building planter boxes around those so we can use those.
Potato planters?
Nope. This is going to be other root vegetables. So one of them is going to be nothing but carrots.
Nope.
Another one.
What is that? 1 pound of potatoes can produce 15 pounds of potatoes.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. Potatoes are what I'm planning on planting this spring once I have actual spring and not fall spring.
You do them in buckets.
But yeah, I'm planting potatoes because remember, kids,
Andrew even has indoor irrigation.
Yeah, inadvertently. Yeah, the potatoes are the one. Yeah. Yay! Thanks for the bats and the squirrels. But the
don't drink that.
No,
yeah,
don't drink that.
I'm not planning on it. It's but the thing is that potatoes are the one food basically that we know of, one of like a couple, but like the one main one that you could eat nothing but and not actually starve to death.
Yep.
You'd actually be okay if you ate nothing but potatoes with skin on, but nothing but potatoes. You would be able to survive on just potatoes forever.
That would be just terrible, though.
That would fucking suck.
Or what is it? He does that in The Martian.
Yes, that's actually why.
Yeah.
Yep, that's actually
the science behind that is absolutely brilliant.
I'm dipping this in a crushed up Vicodin, and nobody could stop me.
Yeah,
I'm a space pirate.
It has been 17 days since I've run out of ketchup.
Yeah.
Yep.
The thing is though, like with the with the potatoes, is that's why Ireland survives so much on them, is because they will grow in rocky soil, they'll grow in really unsuitable soil to grow things in, they'll still grow. Yep. And you can still get nutrients out of it, you still get the things that you need, it'll work. Like, and potatoes.
That's one thing I absolutely love about the climate that Andrew and I both live in is there's a lot of natural tubers that you can go just walk along the swamps. And if you know what you're looking for, you can find buckets and buckets and buckets of wild tubers.
You can do it cattails also.
Yep.
Cattails are a good tuber at the right time of the year.
Yep.
Yeah, we got plenty of those. But don't forget, though, like, you will get sick of potatoes. I know, because I grew up on almost nothing but fried potatoes for almost every meal. And to this day, fried potatoes make me gag.
Hit the dollar store and buy lots and lots of spices. Because you can survive on potatoes, and you can survive on rice, and you can survive on beans. But after about 9 days of eating just beans or just rice or just potatoes, you kind of want to throw them through a window. That's why you need spices.
Yep, exactly.
Well, I see. What we've been doing lately is every paycheck we go to the local grocery store and we buy flats, one extra flat of each canned vegetable.
Yep. I'm worried about my fridge collapsing. I think like 8 or 12 cases of canned vegetables on top of it.
I think if I remember correctly, we've got close to 250 roughly cans of canned vegetables just chilling.
Yeah.
Well, and learn how to can now, like learn how to
do absolutely. We do some of that too.
TikTok, the canning, like the prepping side of TikTok is absolutely fantastic.
Amber's
Heck,
on
YouTube's
TikTok, and
still good,
she
too.
has been doing a lot of that. She's been watching a lot
Anyway,
of that.
let's
YouTube is fantastic. I mean, there's Townsend's on
So,
there, and there's a lot of
on.
stuff that'll teach you how to do it.
Also, if you want links, hit me up. I literally have a channel on Telegram that is set to private, and it's nothing but links to various books and videos and information regarding prepping, homesteading.
And if you're actually
stuff.
if you happen to be in Wisconsin and in
Hit a
southwest
bring it to
Wisconsin,
Chris.
oh no. One of the local gun stores here, Andrew and I both love this place.
VGS.
VGS.
Village Gunsmith.
They actually have a library of prepping books inside their store.
Yep.
So come in, buy your books, and read the sons of bitches. Don't just leave them on the goddamn shelf.
No. All right, let's throw some links and get out of here. Josh is falling asleep and I need to pee.
Nah,
I just did that. Went outside.
All right, buy Dereka's book.
Buy Dereka's book.
That one
Always.
out of the way. If you want to care for your beard like a Viking, use code InkTannerkis15 on thebeardstruggle.com. Get 15% off your entire order, and it really, really will improve your beard growing experience. Their shampoo, conditioner setups, their night elixirs, their straighteners, all of it's awesome. It makes your beard much healthier, and it smells fantastic, and it's clean. There's a study done a little while ago that found that most beards have poo particles in them. You don't want poo particles in your beard. Wash it out.
Because of dumbasses eating ass.
It's no. It's because people flush their toilets with their seats open. Anyway, make sure that you use code InkTannerkis15 and you get 15% off if you order from beardstruggle.com. Also, I am an affiliate of RK Spookware. There's a link in the description. You want to use that code if you print Shooty Boys and you want to get the metal bits that help make them work. So hit up RK Spookware. Also check out Poppin's Patches. He's our boy. He makes some cool patches. Josh is
Dave is fantastic.
He snagged the Just Bite Tyrants one with the fox on the Gadsden background. He snagged that one. He snagged that one from me on Instagram and said that he was going to do a patch about it.
Oh, I'm buying that shit when it hits.
Oh yeah, for sure.
R.I.P. Washington Fox.
Yes,
he makes
awesome patches. He makes awesome patches and a T-shirt that Chris and I helped design, the Boogalorian. There's a bunch of cool stuff on there. He supports the show. He's awesome. You definitely want to check him out. Also, make sure that you check out classicfirearms.com. There's a link. And if you use that link, you get $10 off your order of $100 or more. And you support me. And they're also doing their latest giveaway, which is for a Chris Vector with like an EOTech and all sorts of cool stuff on it.
I'm sorry. No, unless it's full auto, I don't want it.
I do. I still do.
It's super nice. You can still shoot it ridiculously rapidly. It's a cool gun. It's worth an enormous amount of money, and they're giving it away.
First off, it's fun, and it's worth a lot of money.
Yeah, it's worth over $2,000 the way it's set up.
It would be like 2 range trips, and then be like, okay, what can I get for this?
Exactly. And you want it. It comes with mags. It comes with the EOTech. It comes with a special muzzle brake.
Trade it for
works.
Daddy needs an arsenal.
Yeah. So that link will also be in the description if you want to enter that giveaway. It is completely free. It's super easy to enter. It doesn't cost you anything to enter, and you should use that link and enter it because again, it supports me if you do. So, anything else that we got?
Not that I know of.
Come and find us over on Rumble.
Yes. Also, tentatively scheduled for next week, we will have returning guests, Magnus Panvidia, and we will be talking about Michigan and the Wolverine Watchmen and the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping case, and going over just this fantastically wonderful op-ed written by the NBC News, saying how the not guilty charges or the not guilty verdict will only embolden the January 6th insurgents.
That one will be great. I can't wait.
That'll be a good time. So.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. On that note, Josh, give us a piece of life advice.
Same as it's been because it's
Oh,
going
come
in
on,
that
give us a good
direction.
one.
We're your
Give us a
local
good one.
farmers. No,
Give us a good one.
Life
I don't have
advice.
any good ones right now. Prep.
Life advice.
Prep.
Make friends with your local Amish.
Yes.
I don't have any Amish out here.
Yeah,
Well,
they don't have
you're
Amish
an
in
idiot.
Colorado.
There's no Amish in Colorado. They know better.
Yeah,
You can't.
it's like
You
there's no
can't
Amish
grow.
in California.
You can't grow
Oh,
shit in rocks. How about
By
that?
the way, Andrew, just so you know, I don't know if you saw it or not. I don't know if you
Still-
saw it or not. Amish
still recording.
Walmart went up in flames about a month ago.
What?
They are back in business. I was just out there.
The Home Depot in San Jose caught fire here, and
That's about
it was
the same.
it was a 5-alarm blaze, and it was so big that they could see it from space.
Holy crap!
Yes.
But yeah, the storefront for Amish Walmart went up in smoke.
Oh no, that had all the cool stuff. The coolest stuff in it.
Yep. On
Right,
that note,
but
stop burning
they're
shit
back
down,
up.
you fucking asshats. And
Yeah,
we'll
come on, people.
catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.